still here.
I know. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Don't Panic. The moment we went on the air, I was hearing our intro, and there's a 16-second delay, so we're all like scrambling to grab our phones to turn them off and be professional. Yes. But we have failed. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome. I am really excited about this show because we are talking about community, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I wanted to talk about that because there are so many different things that happen during a crisis or during some big event that happens, whether it's good or bad. And but before we get started, of course, I'm going to have my guests introduce themselves and what they do, starting right here with this lovely lady.
Hello, I'm Brandy Marsky, and I'm a writer and columnist for the Dallas Voice. I'm also a drag artist. I do lots of different things.
Hello, I'm Brian Ivanchan from Pride Basics. I print amazing t-shirts for the LGBTQ, LGBTQ plus community.
Which we will be talking about in a minute. Oh, bring your microphone closer.
There we go. How about that?
Treat it like it's a penis. There you go. See, we can
okay, perfect.
That's the language right there.
That's the language.
Yeah, we get it. See, for you, we'd say, okay, it's a vagina.
It's a muff.
And look, and it's black.
Hi.
I'm sorry we interrupted your intro.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's
for the LGBTQIA community.
That big long word.
Yes.
So I print amazing t-shirts for them. I go to all the prides, Dallas Pride, Fort Worth Pride. If you're ever around, come see me.
Excellent.
So do you print t-shirts for the community as well? So like if I have an idea, can I be like, yo?
I do. So I have a retail collection. So a bunch of great sayings and things like that I sell at Pride. And then when people like you or Israel come to me and say, hey, I got this awesome idea, I'm like, I'll take care of it for you.
Awesome. Groovy.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And we also have a fourth guest who is behind the scenes no more.
You got me on here again.
Yay! It's the bestie.
Yeah. Shannon Houck, filmmaker, producer, visual effects. I do it all except for write.
No, except for write.
You don't write?
He doesn't like to write. You're a writer.
You don't like to write?
I don't think I can keep the story flowing good.
Well, that's why you just hire somebody to help you along.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. Plug. And the reason Shannon is on here is not only because he is a wonderful guest, but because our other guest, I'm going to have to call him out, Jake O'Neill. I guess you slept in or you forgot.
Slept in. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, everybody's schedule's different. Candace is asleep right now, so.
Okay.
But she works nights, so.
But Jake is a cool guy, so we will have him on a future show. But Shannon, thank you for stepping in and taking his place.
Thank you, friend.
Not a problem. Wish I could sleep that late.
Right. So, of course, everything that's been going on, it's all on the news. It's been a 24-hour thing going on. Is the crisis going on in South Texas, sort of southeast Texas? Because I know, everyone was talking about like Corpus Christi and then Houston, and now it's just spread because it just keeps getting worse and worse, right?
Yeah.
So where are all the places now, like the other places that have...
I know Louisiana was one. I think they said it was going up towards Missouri, if I'm not mistaken. Like it's heading that way. I mean, right now it's just like a bunch of storms, so the impact I don't think is going to be as bad. Like you don't get the winds and the trade winds and the storm surges and all that you got in the area, but it's still bad. And then there's another hurricane out in the area. Irma, I think, is hanging out, getting ready to either head Florida.
Fixing to come in. Or,
Florida or
Oh my gosh.
Gulf. I know. It's crazy.
Yeah, and
I was going to say, hopefully everybody got back from those cruises. There was a few cruise ships that were stuck out there.
Yeah.
My friends were on them, and they're saying, we've been here for 2 weeks now.
Did they get off?
I think they did. I think they finally got back.
Well, that's a different story. Oh, I'm sorry. You were talking about...
It's not radio time, but
right. Well, I mean, because I have a friend and his boyfriend on a tour on a cruise as well
on
right now. I wonder
tour?
if they're the same way.
Maybe. Yeah, they were stuck in Louisiana and then they went down, and he sent a picture of the map, and it's a big circle, and it's wow.
And I wondered about them, too, because I remember seeing that the mayor of Galveston had said that Galveston was closed until further notice. I mean, that was in the heart and the height of everything that was going on. So I don't know if that's still happening. But I was wondering about that. I'm like, there's people stuck on these cruise ships, and they can't get into the port of Galveston.
Such a tough life.
Oh, but it's all right.
And No. I mean, I love cruising. I'd be like, Candace and I would be like, woohoo, extended vacation. But, you know, some people have, you know, day jobs.
Right.
Or then what if you get like, you know, averted and you have to go to Miami? Then you have to pay to fly back. Like, it's just added expenses that you
and
don't
it throws off your
expect.
schedule. And honestly, bill collectors don't care about
No.
floods or anything. They just want you to pay on time.
They really don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
They really, really don't.
You know, and speaking of Galveston being closed and everything, I know that last week we were talking about Austin and how they canceled their Pride.
Right.
Do they really?
So that's what Tammy was talking about on the Dallas Voice Show, on right after this show, on the Spayse Station YouTube. So I wonder if that actually happened, like they canceled it. They did?
Their Pride is going to be 2 different weekends now. So they're going to have the Pride Parade one weekend and the festival another weekend. I believe the festival is going to be October 20th, that weekend around there.
Really? That's interesting.
And
We
then
all need to go down there and go support them
Yeah.
and, you know, kind of help the
It's
LGBT community. and
2 different
community there.
weekends. I saw it the other day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And see, you know, just like with talking about this and the rescheduling of Pride parades and the cruises going on, it's, you know, this show is about community and what happens when something like this. So let's just say, for example, a big hurricane like this one that has affected a large portion of the Texas state. Now, one thing that one of the first things that I noticed was people were posting, here's the hurricane, here's Dallas. I keep forgetting, because I've lived my entire life, well, most of my life in Texas, that people don't realize how big Texas is. So they think that we've been affected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm actually from Corpus Christi. So
Okay.
like, you know, my family's still there. They're okay. They had some roof damage, but my family, my parents are fine. But yeah, like I saw a lot of people and they didn't realize that, you know, Corpus is a 6-7 hour drive away.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the people that were checking in, because even
Yeah.
if you don't know, I mean, it just means that somebody cares,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
whether or not you're okay. So
Yeah, and I know that I've had a couple of projects where there were people from LA that both said, "Oh, we're just going to drive over," and then it's not until they realize, "Oh, okay, I'm in Texas, I'm in El Paso. It's still another 12, 15 hour drive
yes,
to
it
get
is.
to Dallas."
Just to get out of Texas going west, it's like 85 years. It feels like.
and I keep forgetting that outside of Texas, you know, it's pretty easy just to go from one state to another.
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
It's not a
Uh-huh.
whole big distance. So that was the first thing that I realized about that. But then, so now, you know, the hurricane happens and then it gets worse. And let's talk about, because I like to end the show on a positive note. So let's just talk about the crazy things that happen.
Oh
Like
my.
the what would you say?
I was like, you do?
What is she trying to say?
What do you mean positive note? What?
is the first off, price gouging. That's usually the first thing that
Oh,
you
yeah.
notice with the bottled water. Well, they wait until all of the supplies have gone, and then a case of bottled water can be, you know, $50
Yeah,
because
I
they know
saw
you need it.
somebody like that was selling like cases of bottled water outside of their truck, you know, for 200% more than what it was. I'm like, don't these people realize that karma's a bit like, it's just not
Yeah.
cool. Like people who do that have something that's just off, I think,
Yeah.
inside their brain. Like when you don't go into automatic help mode and you go into, that's like the Cersei Lannister, you know, she goes right in, you go right into just like, how can I profit off of this? It's,
Right. I'm going to go sell solar glasses or something. Those were a hot ticket item a couple weeks ago.
I
Right.
have some, I like those.
and I'm kind of with you, like when when you talk about how you instinctively and naturally born with certain things.
Yeah.
And one of them is when something bad happens, I don't know what it is, but like a chemical is released in your body. Like if you see a child, like you want to, like the motherly instincts kick in, where you want to take care of people. So when
Yeah.
something like this happens and you know there are people in need, do people just, some of them just not born with that they're like, oh, I'm just going to try to get money off of them?
I think.
You know?
I think they're just, I mean, they're maybe broken in that way. I mean, because everybody has that natural instinct to want to go help, you know?
I would think, Shannon, do you have that instinct? Like, would you want to help? Like, what's your
he's the one.
instinct?
Yeah, I would be helping. But, you know, it's like you said, I think we were talking about yesterday, people are just looking out to get some money out of any circumstance that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it's just, it's sad to see, but I'm glad that people are pulling out their cell phones and
Yes.
getting them on video and then posting it on social media.
And
so we
calling
can
them
just-
out, because it's ridiculous. You know, I appreciate these people that are calling out, you know, these price gougers and people who want to make money off of other people's, you know, disaster and catastrophes. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then of course the preacher, whatever you want to call him, Joel
Osteen.
Yeah.
Osteen. Now I got to
So,
say,
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I
This is
mean,
going to be fun. Everybody's so excited.
I think he got a lot of flack on that when he shouldn't have. I think looking back,
interesting.
I think that looking back on Katrina, people died in that when they went to the Coliseum or to the shelter that they were in. So for him to say Houston didn't tell me to be a shelter yet, so the safety concerns I had, I feel like that's totally validated.
I'm kind of with you, but kind of not, because
Sure.
this is what I came out thinking. This man knows. He has done his media training.
Oh yeah.
He knows
yeah.
what to say.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's got the face. He's saying it like this.
The MSN
Everything is wonderful.
The MSN interview, I was like, oh yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
Go
I mean, because it's so phony, but he's so good. And
It's the
I was waiting.
charisma.
Yeah, well, because I was waiting to hear his response, and I was like, oh yeah, all right, I'm ready. And then when he said it, I was like, I don't believe any of it, but you're good.
You're
good.
good.
Because
Yeah.
pretty much what he said was, well, they hadn't told me yet, and there are safety issues because we've been flooded before, and now that they've told us that everything's okay, and we've checked out my building, which had been flooded before, now everything is fine, and of course we have always been open. Now it's a crock of crap,
Yeah.
but he knew how to work the system. He
Yeah.
knows how to work the public, and now they've kind of left him alone. And I'm like, that's media
I don't know.
training for
There's
you.
a lot of memes going around that are like really awesome, that are just still publicly shaming him, and I think he deserves it all. But we can talk about that later, because I don't want to get cut off by Israel Luna like I always do.
Well, and I will say that since then, at least, even though it started off on a bad note and he was being criticized, let's just say the internet made him do it. Now he kind of doesn't have a choice, and he's doing it. Even though inside, if
Yeah.
he doesn't want it, it's happening.
It's happening.
So, ha-ha.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
We made you be a better Christian.
Exactly. We're going to be better Christians by cutting to break, and don't go anywhere
Not
because
me.
we're going to still talk about this guy and other things, and maybe try to start the end of the term LGBTQIA, whatever. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Gasp.
Gasp.
Everyone. Welcome back. Before we cut to break, we were talking about Joel Osteen, and Shannon, you were going to say something about him as well. Like, what were your thoughts on his timeline of when he opened his doors and stuff?
I was.
Right after we cut to break.
No, I thought he should open the doors and let people in. It's stupid to sit there and wait for permission.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I am too.
And that's what I was saying. Like, I get that the red tape, I get, there might be, or, blah, 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 blah. People are rationalizing, his followers are rationalizing it, saying that, there's a lot of red tape to go through. But then you have another business owner, I think his name is Mattress Mike or Mattress Mickey, but he owns like a mattress business, and he opened up his doors and just had people come in and sleep on, he covered up the mattresses and he would just have people sleep there. And I think that if you are called to help, you help regardless. You ask for forgiveness later. You just do it and you ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And that was one of my points I brought up is, though he had the red tape, at the end of the day, if you have the means, you need to help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is permission.
Absolutely. Yep. And I think that because he came back out and said, oh, yes, they were always open, but we were waiting for this to go through. After the internet attacked him, I think it does make him look bad. Yeah. If he had just come on board before anyone told him anything, but because he was doing it for the through the goodness of his heart, and opened it up. Because do you know how awesome it would be if he opened his doors and people were like, "No, you can't do that because this might collapse," and he's like, "I don't care, I'm helping people." Yeah. Everyone would be like, "Yes."
Yeah, I would have totally backed
him.
Like
a power pose out on the front.
Yeah.
Come in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Super
Shannon,
Jesus.
did somebody comment or something?
Yeah, Alan Dunkel said, Shannon wants to know if Spayse is open as a shelter yet.
My personal office space.
His office door is always open.
I have to screen them first. They have to be cute. Oh my gosh!
There's a big green screen room back there.
But speaking of a green screen and opening your doors, the next thing is the media. I don't know if you've seen, but there's been a lot of media coverage, and there have been quite a few responses from people that are still down there, that are being rescued, that have been kind of eye-opening. I know one guy was telling a newscaster, he said, why don't you treat this like you live here? Because you guys just come in here. You've never been here before. Yeah. You talk to us and then you leave. Yeah. Treat it like this is your place with respect. Yeah. And I thought that was really, really a great thing, because that's the part that we don't see, and we need to see the media criticized a little bit on how they handle certain things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I see both sides, I get it. Like I do. I feel like, they go in, they cover the story, and it's, they get all in people's spaces, and then that's the end of it. I think there does need to be some kind of continuity, or this trying to understand. It's like a reporter coming into like our queer space and just covering a story about somebody who was just bashed over the head outside of Target. Yeah. Like, you need to be able to empathize with the community that you're trying to get to talk, and you're trying to create a dialogue. You're not just trying to, like, for me anyway, I think media needs to try to create more of a dialogue than just like a, hey, how's everything going over there when you're 6 feet underwater?
Well, there was this one reporter that was at a shelter where they were bringing all of these people in, and she went up to this woman who was there with her daughter, and she said, how do you feel? And the woman says, how do I feel? You are catching me at the worst time in my entire life, and you are here asking me how I'm doing, and you have that microphone in here, and here's my daughter, and we're trying to find a place to stay. And the woman's like, I am so sorry, and does this again, and she says, and you're putting the microphone back in my face, and started cursing, using the F word on, but very respectful, wasn't screaming. And I thought, whoa, now I feel their pain, because they're right. We don't think about that. Yeah. Of how she handled that.
Yeah, no, I saw that interview, and that was the same reaction I got. Was, wow, they're really.
What interview? I haven't seen this. What?
Yeah, it was just down there, like at one of the big. I don't know where it was, but
just one of the news channels, I think.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, but what happened was I was watching it closely, because there they are at the check-in. They meaning media. And there they are check-in. So these people have no choice but to walk that direction. Right. And then there they are. How do you feel? They haven't asked permission, like, hi, can we interview you after you're done checking in, and then we can talk about your story. But it was just a person not giving them a choice.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's really invasive. That's really invasive in a time where you're just you're like, your mind is like, I've lost everything. Like, who knows? They could have lost a kid. They could have lost their animals. Like, there's so, like, I know if I was approached like that, I probably would have been that woman. I know Candace would be too. You know, my wife would have been like, fuck that. Who the fuck are you? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And along those lines with the media is, you know, our wonderful president went and paid a visit. So why do you already start flipping off?
I can't stand the bastard, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, I was just going to talk about how so from what I understand, he showed up with the FLOTUS. POTUS showed up with FLOTUS.
In my hometown of Corpus Christi. That was in Corpus Christi.
And let's just talk about how she was dressed.
Oh, can I just say, okay, as much as I don't like either one of them, if she wants to wear fucking high heels, that's her prerogative. As a woman who likes to wear heels, as a lesbian, queer, brown woman, I like to wear heels. And if she wants to wear fucking heels, who the fuck cares? Like that, but I also get that it might not be in some people's mind that, you know, the right attire, but at the same time, it's, if she wants to wear heels, she can wear heels.
Right.
That's my opinion.
Shannon, what do you think? Before I speak about
Let's
it.
go.
Come on, we need mud boots.
Put the camera on you. We can't see you.
The overalls.
Thank God. I'm the ugly of this program, okay?
So how do you feel about what she was wearing? Do you think it was appropriate or do you care?
I did not see what she was wearing, but
So what was
hey,
she wearing? And then,
She had like a bomber jacket, like a t-shirt, jeans, but she was wearing, the issue I think was she was wearing stiletto heels. And she was wearing, I think they were like $6,000 snakeskin stiletto heels.
And she looked beautiful. Don't get
and-
me wrong.
And, you know, I'm obviously I don't wear anything that's animal related, and I get that, but at this, you know, I just think you got to stop treating women that, like, telling them what they can and cannot wear in certain situations. That's just me.
Shannon?
I agree.
Okay.
Good
I might be the
answer.
minority, see, because for me, it's all about the image that you want to give. Give people a story in their head. So if she and he were to show up, sort of like in just rough clothes, casual clothes, in my head I would think, wow, they rushed out of bed and they ran over there to be with these people because they were in a hurry and they didn't have time to get fixed up. Even though it was
see what you're
phony,
saying, yeah.
I want that image in my head of just throw anything on. We have to go and help these people. As
But
opposed
we already
to,
know they're not that kind of people. So if they did that, it would be a little bit more inauthentic than they already are.
Possibly,
That's how I
possibly.
feel.
Yeah.
I would just want to see that. I don't know why you
See,
were.
that's why your good nature is coming out there, and that's what that is your good nature of going to help versus selling the $30 bottles of water. You know,
Yeah.
that's what that is. And I agree. I think they should be there to help, and you know that image does do a lot.
Yeah. And then of course, so he arrives, and from what I understand, he didn't go to any of the places that needed help. He was like at a certain place that was designated for him, and I think he just sort of like got out of the door, the vehicle door, said a couple of things like for 2
Didn't
minutes.
he have like a megaphone?
I'm not sure. I didn't
thought
see
in one
it.
of the pictures he had a
Don't
megaphone.
mind.
I
So,
think we like-
so basically, he went out there and just made an appearance and said,
it was a rally.
I'm here.
And
Yeah.
that's partially why I don't know much, because it was just like, get the hell out. Like, I mean, there's other people here that need to help, need to do this, and are trying to help other people. And
from what I understand,
Just
even the words
distraction.
that he used to describe it, it wasn't like completely like, this is a terrible disaster. It was, this is epic. This is huge. It was not necessarily huge. Huge. Yeah, and that's the part that bothered me was that he seemed to be unaffected by anything and completely cold.
But
for
he
me.
is. But I think that's just who he
true.
is. You know what I mean? Like, this is a man who does not have anybody else's best interest in his heart except his own. And I wrote about this in my trending tea topic in the Dallas Voice. You can see it online, dallasvoice.com. But I wrote about like he doesn't see anything that's outside of himself. And I think that by us expecting anything is we're going to be let down.
Even after 9/11, okay, George Bush Jr. was the president, and he wasn't doing such a great job at being
Yeah.
president. And then 9/11 happened, and somebody whipped him into shape and said, "Say good things, say amazing things, even if you seem phony, say them anyway." And guess what? Everyone was like, "Wow, he's being president now," and it started saving his image around that time. We need something like that.
But he was open to it. Donald Trump is not open to that kind of coaching and that
Yeah.
kind of, you know, this is what you need to do. He's not. He's just going to do his own thing.
Oh my gosh.
But you know, at least it didn't fly over top and just look down. Like
That is true, like Bush did with Katrina,
Yeah.
which, by the way, people.
Wow,
Obama
I didn't know he did that.
Yeah. During Katrina, Bush just flew over in his copter, or
Peered out the
Air Force
window.
One, and he peered out the window.
Wow.
Which makes me so mad and angry that there's these people that are like, well, where was Obama when Katrina happened? You fucking idiot. He wasn't president.
How dare he not be
I
president?
know, how dare. It's his fault.
Wow.
Jesus,
people really are saying that?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
my
Like there's.
So-
Go ahead.
Larry Kuhn says, we have a wonderful crowd here today. That's what he is saying.
We have a one. Yeah, because he focused more. You're right, Larry. Like he focused more on the crowd than he did on the actual severity and the nature of the storm. Like the people. The focus was him, me. Not what can I do for you.
I would think that he, because of his ego and because of him being an alpha male, that he would want the news stations, the news reports, the talk shows for at least one day say he actually did something good. He did a good job, at least just once.
Israel, I love you, but I just think you're expecting way too much out of me.
Yeah.
You know, like
might
I
be.
just, I appreciate, like you always say to me, I appreciate your hope, Israel. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
You know, and here I was with my fingers crossed, like giving him the benefit of the doubt, but because of the chaos going on and because of how severe this was, I just thought maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, I knew.
maybe just hopefully it'll change. No.
Yeah. And because of that, there was one person on Facebook that I have known for a long time, and she posted, how proud she was of all of Texas coming together to help, and she thanked Trump, and then she thanked Abbott, and then she thanked, and at that moment I stopped, and it made me pause and wondering, why did she thank Trump, and what does that mean? We have to cut to a break, but I want to talk about that because I need your input on this because I'm not exactly sure how to react. So we'll talk about that when we
I'll
come
tell
back.
you how.
Okay. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Don't Panic. For those of you who are just now joining us, I'm going to have my guests reintroduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Brandy Amarski, and I have lots of opinions.
I'm Brian Ivancham with Pride Basics, and I don't have any.
You don't have any opinions?
No opinion.
I have some.
I'm Shannon Houck, filmmaker, producer, whatever it is needs to be done. Yeah.
Just not a writer.
Just
Right.
not a writer. Guys, before we cut to break, we were talking about the President of the United States and how he reacted or what he did, the efforts that he put into the paying a visit to the city of no, it wasn't Houston. Where
It was
it?
Corpus.
In
Yeah, it
Corpus
was Corpus
Christi.
Christi.
And so I didn't know this, but George Bush back in Katrina days just kind of flew over on a helicopter. So
Air Force One. Was it? It was probably
think it
Air
was Air
Force
Force
One.
One, yeah.
Yeah.
and now Trump, he just sort of does this mediocre speech, not necessarily condemning the hurricane or anything, but talking about the size of the crowd and how it's an epic event, which, I mean, does epic mean something negative? It doesn't to me.
It doesn't, but I just think in describing a major catastrophe and disaster,
event.
a big
big
like
event.
I just don't think it was the right choice of words to
Yeah.
say this is epic. Like,
And so I know that there's a celebrity that gave to an LGBT organization for donating to help them. Who was it? You that was telling me? And then she got criticism.
Ruby Rose, I believe she was in Orange and the New Black. Yes, she gave $10,000 to LGBT Houston Center.
I saw something like that. Yeah.
And then she got all kinds of backlash of why give there instead of other people don't need your money or
Yeah.
And
How do you feel about that?
Like, I feel if you want to donate your money to a specific cause, whether that's animals, whether that's LGBTQ, it's your money, your money, you're right, your body, you're right. That's how I feel about it.
And I also think it's the Houston LGBT Center doesn't benefit one person; they benefit everyone. They don't discriminate, and so though
True that.
$10,000 went to them, I'm sure a whole bunch more money went other places, but that money will actually go to work.
And
Yeah.
and this is where I feel that our community needs to come in more, because I know when I was watching it, it was 24 hours a day. I watch it every morning while I'm getting ready for work, and I want to personally know what about the gay communities?
Yeah.
The LGBT
Right.
communities, the LGBT, what's going on with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to know what's going on with the communities that you're a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't see any coverage on that at all. Now, I haven't gone to like Logo or anything like that, so I don't know if they're covering it as well and giving it the
Right.
gay spin.
I don't know
Do you
if
know?
I've seen. I haven't seen.
I have thought about that, that old statistic, 40% of youth homeless identify as LGBT. So I have been wondering, like, where is the LGBT news? Like, where is that news? And I haven't seen much of it. Now you give me something to research over the weekend.
No.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering what needs to be done to change that, because yes, I'm concerned for everyone, but I'm especially concerned for the community that I belong to, and there's no coverage. I want to know.
Yeah.
Like here, if something happened here, I would hope that there would be coverage of what happened in the Oak Lawn area and Cedar Springs area,
Right.
the gayborhood.
Right.
What's being said about that? I want to know, because maybe this celebrity knew about that and gave for it to go there. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need suggestions and advice here, like on what to do in case that happens again, because I am concerned for that community. But before we went to break, we were also talking about how someone had commented thanking Trump for everything that they're doing for the hurricane, and I thought, not only did I think, well, what has he done, but I thought to myself, for someone to publicly go on Facebook and specifically call him out and thank him, what does that mean about their, especially because the last 2 weeks and everything in Virginia and everything, and someone is still so on his side? How should I feel about that person, and am I overthinking it? Because this is a person that I had potentially asked to be a judge for Rack Focus. Should there be a separation? I need advice. I really don't know.
I definitely think there should be a separation. I mean,
Okay.
I think everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And sometimes those opinions are challenging for all of us to swallow, but we do need to swallow them because, we respect each other.
Is it safe to say that this person is a Trump supporter?
Oh, yeah. For me, it would be.
I would say yes, only because I know I wouldn't, I wouldn't go out and say, thank you, Trump, for what.
So since this
You've
person
done.
has, and you being a judge before, twice.
Yeah, no, once. Because
That's right. You weren't able to make the
wasn't
second
able
one.
to make
How
it.
would you feel about that same person sitting next to you as a judge? Would it affect anything?
I think it.
Oh, they're gonna judge.
She's going to judge.
I think the only reason why it would is because if you are a Trump supporter, then you are automatically, in my head, somebody who is anti everything that I am and everything that I stand for,
That's how
whether
I feel.
that's queer, brown, female, right? Like you're against these progressive ideas that I feel that you and your film, Rack Focus Film stands for. So I would question it because I know you as part of the community, but you would also have Trump here and have, let him film.
And do a commercial. Yeah,
But
I take
but
his
for
money.
me, I would. It would make me go, well, you're pretty much against everything that Israel stands for, what art stands. I mean, Trump has defunded the arts already. Like, he's chipping away at the arts. So why would you have this person who's a Trump supporter judging art?
Shannon?
I would.
What do you think?
Shannon, you're a filmmaker.
We've already talked about this.
But not on air, so it didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
I don't know. I told you, if you don't feel comfortable with the person judging, don't let him judge. You didn't offer it to him already, so you're just thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, I had mentioned it, but I haven't confirmed or anything that they're going to be a judge. But just seeing that post, just those simple words, I would like to thank Trump. And then she thanked all these other people, but something, it just came out at me.
Like, I feel like if you are feeling like this gut, reaction to it and you're feeling like that, then I think you should follow that. Like, I feel like if you're having that kind of, reaction and emotional response to that, then I think you just need to go with that and be like, deuces.
And for me,
Go with your gut feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and it's confusing for me because I usually can just pinpoint, yes or no, or the decisions that I'm going to make. And it seems like because of the actions of the president right now, it's challenging me in different ways of what to think about certain people, because doing certain policies and making certain policies that are just kind of generic and very, like that has happened ever since the beginning of time up until now. You can just agree or disagree, but when it's flat out racist or not wanting to condemn someone who hates people that are not like them in your face and someone supports them, now it's more personal. And it's different.
It's different because I remember the rhetoric of Bush, and Bush was like, oh, it's us versus them. But Trump has really, without even having to say it, he has divided to where you really have to choose. You have to choose a side because you're either, Trump and it's fascist and it's racist and it's all these isms and or you're not. Like, there's clearer lines than there have ever been.
He is that person that gets in there with a knife and divides.
Yeah,
everything.
like
That
there are clear lines where there have never been clear lines before, and I think I know I've never felt that. I felt a little bit under George W. Bush, but not as much as I do now.
Mm-hmm. I think I know what I'm going to do.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to contact this person personally on Facebook and say, so I was just wondering why you feel that this person specifically needs praise, during this time.
Yeah.
And just hear her out first
Perfect.
before I make any decisions.
That's a great.
How does that sound?
That's a good
'Cause
idea.
I do think, though people are supporters of Trump, I know quite a few. I know that they don't hold all of his values or they don't see all the same way he does. They do pick his side, and that is challenging for me to swallow. It's like, but at the same time, she might give you a different perspective.
And don't get me, I have Trump supporter friends. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like, if you voted for Trump, then I'm just going to delete you from my life. If I've been friends with you for a long time, I'm not going to do that. That's not my MO. But I do think that kind of vocal praise for something that hasn't been done, like he really hasn't done anything, that's a questionable line. Would I cut ties with somebody who I'm personally friends with? No, because I'm not that kind of person. But this is business. Business is different than personal.
And I'm giving this person who thanked him the benefit of the doubt, because if she says, well, I would like to thank him because, presidents before just flew over and he actually took the time and effort to actually even just step off and arrive, then I could be like, okay, I can kind of see how you might want to thank him for that, even though I don't think it justifies an actual public hi thanks to Trump to the entire Facebook page, because this person's pretty well known in the film community.
Gotcha.
So I might just do that. I think I'm going to question.
I think you should just ask, start a dialogue,
Yeah.
you know? And then maybe you find that your opinions aren't as divergent as you thought they were. And maybe you want that, you know, other side, another view judging your film, you know, but totally your call.
And what if, and I'm going to report back what she says.
Yes, I would love to know. Yeah, I would love to know.
Because going along the lines of what you said, which is he's so anti-art. That, and this is a film competition, and this is a person who is deeply involved in the arts.
Yeah.
How can someone like that support him? And do you think it would be
oxymoronic?
Do you think it would be possible that she does not support him, but she just felt that she had to thank him because of so much he's done during the flood? I mean,
I just don't.
I don't know.
I don't understand.
I've got
the
several
separation.
comments on here.
yeah.
Let's
yeah.
do it.
So Alan says, let me get back to it. I'm not a Trump fan, but he did declare emergencies in Texas and Louisiana rapidly.
Well, that was after Abbott, you know, asked, but he did wait a couple of days. He actually pardoned the sheriff before he signed the disaster relief, if I am correct.
Okay.
So he did, but it took him a couple of days.
Right.
But
Okay.
thanks for reminding us.
Another one is his staff did. I'm not sure what that refers to, but he's too self-centered to truly care about Texas.
Thank you, whoever said that. I completely and totally agree with you. That was my argument.
Yeah.
I care
Louis
about anything in
Partido.
general.
Oh, Louis.
Oh, thank
Jose
you, Louis.
Yeah.
Oh, fellow gente.
He also says, oh my God, not enough shared about LGBTQ peeps during Harvey crisis. And back to Trump. Damn, that bitch is good.
Oh my God. Well, guys, speaking of the LGBT community, I kind of want to get rid of that term and replace it with another one.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I also have a nice giveaway as well. So don't go anywhere because it's just about to get good. And we're going to start cheering things up a little bit. All right?
Yeah. Let's
definitely.
get.
So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Yeah. Israel, I want to end it.
Where it stops, no one knows. Since she was torn apart, now she's the one taking heart longer in her nature star.
Go to hell indeed.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Don't Panic. Before we cut to break, we were talking about LGBTQ. What is it now? LGBTQIA QRST.
There's a plus
I
in there
just use
somewhere.
LGBTQ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I am starting a campaign where I want to change that. I don't want to do away with anything. I just want to make it a little better because I think of my family in West Texas. I know some of them are watching. Hi, Mom. Hi, Queedy. My brother, we call him Queedy.
Hey, Queedy.
And you know, I know my family in West Texas, they don't know what to call our community. So they're just like, you know, you're that community.
community,
over they don't even say gay community because
Really?
they don't know if that's politically correct or not.
Right.
So much less saying LGBTQI. They're not going to say that. I'm sorry. Because they don't know what's the proper term and they want to be respectful. I don't even know what the proper term is. So I kind of think that I've figured something out. We are going to call ourselves the dun 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 dun. I'm going to stand up so you can see it.
Oh yeah.
Can you see it?
Ta-da!
Oh, here we go. It has LGBTQ, LGBTQI, blah, blah, blah. It's all marked out. And I think we should just call ourselves the rainbow community.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thoughts? Tell me what you think. Do you think it might work?
I think it could work. I mean, you know, I'm a fan of the term. I'm a fan of umbrella terms that are all inclusive. So I like rainbow community. People know I love the word queer. I love queer community. So I think it's a great addition to. I think it's a great option. If you're tired of figuring out is it fucking LGBTQ, is it QIA? If you're tired of all that, rainbow community works. Queer community works. It all works.
Cool.
Yeah, I love it. Because you just see the names on there, LGBT, GLBT, and when he sent me the ideas, I saw GLBT. Wait, what is that? Is that new? Oh,
used to be GLBT.
That's an old school one.
Yeah.
I'm
It used to be
like,
GLBT.
Because then I think the only reason it changed was because they said ladies first, right?
I think
Oh, is
that's
that what it
I
was?
think that was the history. Yeah, I think that was the history of it.
And Shannon, so what do you think?
As an ally.
As
what
an
do you
ally,
think?
I think it's a great idea. You know, for somebody that does not say those letters very often, you know, rainbow community flows off the tongue a lot more than LGBT or any of the other adding letters.
Yeah.
and I know that with the adding of different colors onto the flag in Philadelphia, is that where it was? It's just going to start a trend, and more people are going to want to start adding more colors. And I thought, you know, that's fine, but let's stop with the letters. Let's make it simple for everybody. It's going to be all inclusive to everyone, and you can all just be a part of the rainbow community. And that's kind of my goal. I really want to start this to be the new term.
Yeah.
And every time I see something on the news or I see a news article, I always replace LGBT with rainbow in my head, and it works. I haven't seen one case where it does not work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you gotten any flack? Have you heard like any dissenting opinions about
have
why
not.
it wouldn't?
I've had people throwing out other ideas, like somebody said, well, why not the human community? I'm like, that wouldn't
That doesn't work. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That kind of blanket generalization doesn't work, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, but I have not had someone say it doesn't work so far. So that's
Yeah.
good.
No, I think it's great.
And I know last week, I have to say, you know,
So I'm going to play a little devil's advocate. I'm
Oh,
just,
here we go.
no, I'm just, no.
dare you?
I know, because I'm just curious. Because for some people, especially the older generations, you know, it took them so long to claim that term of gay and lesbian and own their queerness that what if they're not ready to give it up? Like, what if they finally feel comfortable using a term that refers to their sexuality as opposed to their color? And so, like, you know, as opposed to like rainbow community. And the reason why I ask is because I feel like I love rainbow community, obviously. I'm just playing devil's advocate. But like it kind of strips away the sexuality. And as LGBTQ individuals, we've had the media do that. You know, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy stripped away, you know, gay male sexuality. So I'm just curious, like, how do you feel about that? How would you respond to somebody?
Well, I know that the main thing that I think of is my family in West Texas. I want them to understand and know what to say.
So more
If-
educational, like
if-
you're, okay.
Yeah, and if that strips away the
bridge.
sexuality,
Okay.
that's perfect. I don't want them to think sex. I want them to think mental
But that's
love.
part of, I know, but that's part of life is sex.
It is. But just for them to understand our community, I feel I don't want to refer, like, perfect example is when you go to certain stores and they have T-shirts and it says top and one of them says bottom. I would never wear something like that to see my family because I don't want them to think gay equals porn, because that's what they already think. Is the sexuality is already there for them.
Yeah. Okay.
When I first screened Ticked Off Trannies with Knives, some family members went to see it. They didn't know anything about the project, and they came out saying, I loved that movie. It had nothing to do with sex. And I said, why would you think it would have anything to do with sex? It opened my eyes. They immediately think, oh, this is going to be transgender women having sex.
Yeah.
So the sexuality is already there in their head. Now we need to show them that we are just like them as far as like non-sexual.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. I totally get your point. And like I said, I'm playing devil's advocate here,
Yeah.
and you know, I see both sides. But yeah, so I see both sides.
Yeah, and I definitely love the term rainbow community simply because for family members, it's a lot easier for them to say, oh, it's part of the rainbow community or whatever, not part of the gay community or LGBT, or, you know, it doesn't add that sexuality whenever you are talking or when your family's talking to friends and family.
But then I just start wondering why are we concerning ourselves with people who are outside of our community? I get that I get we're trying to be a bridge. I'm all about being a bridge, but at the same time, it's not about them. It's about us.
Well, you're right, but I do disagree. I feel that we need to be teachers. We need to be teachers to the rest of the world. And for them to understand us, they have to not be threatened by us.
I completely agree.
And afraid of us, because there are some things that I see when I see those T-shirts. It turns me off when I see those nothing but sexual T-shirts, and I think that's not me. Now behind closed doors, yeah, I'm a filthy pig, but I don't want to walk to.
That's about that pig T-shirt.
But I don't want to go to a family reunion and wear those shirts because that's what they already see me
But you
as
still
when
want
they
to
say
embrace who you are, and I mean, you want to still show who you are and what you. I mean,
Exactly.
so that a shirt like that would be fantastic.
And it sounds kind of cutesy and safe is what I feel we need to start doing, because I have to
I
say,
don't like that word.
I feel
Cutesy.
I know I don't like the word safe.
Safe.
Like I feel like we're getting too complacent, and like I think if you disassociate the word from safe, I'll agree with
got
you.
it,
Wes.
got it.
Yeah.
What I guess what
I
I'm-
don't want to be safe.
It's
I don't ever
cutesy.
want to be safe.
Right.
Cutesy, yes.
Cutesy.
I like
I
it.
guess what I'm trying to say is I want it to be something that they're not afraid of.
Yeah.
That they're like, oh, tell me more. I want to step in because I hear rainbow. When they hear LGBTQ, they don't know what the heck that is, and they're gonna go.
Well, you know you're going to offend the Jesus God people because you know they're already trying to take the rainbow.
I would never offend that
They're
community.
saying we are.
And guys, you know what? We're going to cut to break really quick, and we're going to talk about this. I know it's already over. The religion aspect and me offending religious people. We're going to cut to break, and the break is going to be a clip from my film "Kicking Zombie Ass for Jesus" that just screened,
So good.
and a clip, the trailer for Devil's Chain, and we're going to come back and talk about that really quick before we close out the show. We'll be right back.
Yay, Rufus.
I know that. Hello?
she was torn apart. Now she's the one taking heart longer in her nature star. With the heart out, she plays the game. Spreads her emptiness, can't paint remain.
Go to hell indeed.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So this past Monday, we had the screening of The Devil's Chain, Lesbian Strippers from Hell, and Kicking Zombie Ass for Jesus. You were there.
I was.
So tell what
It
what you
was
think.
it was fantastic. It was actually my first ever screening of one of your films, and I love the audience participation, the audience reaction.
Mm-hmm.
All three films were so different, but so the same. It was just an amazing experience. All three movies were fantastic. Shannon, your movie was awesome. The anything with lesbian strippers from hell, and
Ping pong balls. That's
ping
all I'm
pong.
gonna say.
That is like the best thing ever. But your film in particular, I didn't really know what to expect, and you kind of blew it out of the water for me.
Yeah?
I was like, that's my friend.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, the concept is pretty much there's been a zombie apocalypse in a small Texas town.
Right.
And the survivors have barricaded themselves in a building. And then that's when they realize they're half of the rainbow community and the other half are Bible thumpers.
Oh,
That's
okay.
pretty much it.
Yeah, and what transpires is a really interesting story. It's awesome. But you had a really good question. That you
Yeah,
wanted
no,
to-
I mean, well, so I got tickets to come see it, and then my partner had auditions for Big Fish, and I didn't even know about it until
What
last
was her
minute.
name?
So,
Miss Sky, if you're nasty.
So you didn't actually come
no,
to the
I'm
screening.
so sorry.
Oh,
and I was
okay.
super excited about it too. And then last minute he had auditions, or he had his first casting call or a thing for it. So
Yeah.
he already
Oh,
got
okay.
casted in it, which was great. But then he had his first time to go
Gotcha.
rehearse. Rehearsal, that's the word I was looking
Ah,
for.
gotcha.
So my point is where can we go see it now? Because I would still love to go watch it tonight, even.
Well, there isn't another screening scheduled yet. I have to talk to my distributor first.
Amazon Prime?
Not yet.
okay.
But it's gonna get there, just not yet. This was like an exclusive one-time event, and the theater
And
was
I
packed.
The
missed
theater
it.
was
It
packed.
was. I saw
It
pictures.
was
Yes.
super packed. It was cool to see that kind of community response to a fellow filmmaker and artist. So
Yeah,
it was
and
really
you can
cool.
talk about it a little bit. You're going to say something. You said, "Oh, but I don't want to spoil." I mean, you can talk about like some of the storylines. Were they unexpected? Were you?
The storylines were unexpected. The acting was also really. The whole thing was a lot better. I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, I've seen some other films, but it's different seeing it in a theater with the energy and the emotions and the director and everybody there to support. And the storyline, the script was really good. Like I thought that it was very well written. Continuity wise, it felt like a Night of the Living Dead meets like Dusk Till Dawn meets Walking Dead. So like it pulled in
With the sprinkle of RuPaul.
with the with a heavy sprinkle of RuPaul. But it was such a unique idea and something like I think you and I have talked about this before. Very relevant about with what's going on right now. So.
One of the biggest compliments that I got was 2 nights ago. I was at SMU for a dinner, and one of the professors there had come to the screening, and he was just going on and on about how he wants to screen the movie at SMU. By the
That's
way,
awesome.
because he says it's got a great message.
Okay, you let me know when that is.
Yes.
And I will be there.
Yes. But he said not once did he say that it was, or that he referred to it as a gay film, because I didn't want it to be an LGBT or rainbow film.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be a zombie film.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. It was much more. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
much more that than anything else.
Yeah. So for me as the writer and the director, that's what I wanted to push for. Yes, I'm gay, and that's going to come out in my writing. But first and foremost, it's a gory, funny,
it
cheesy
was
zombie film.
Yeah, some of that gore and special effects. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just. The special effects,
I s-
kudos on that. Like
The trailers looked really
eyeball.
good.
You know, Shannon did most of those effects.
you,
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh my god, are they really doing that? Like, is that really a knife that they're putting to Larry the zombie's like neck? I was really worried because
And
it
on
looked
his head,
so
the
real.
crowbar.
On his head.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shannon did that as well.
Good.
The
Good
the
job,
infection of the guy who gets his finger bit and then it's starting to infect.
Yep.
Shannon did all that.
Shannon, very
The
badass.
explosion. Yeah, everything. Yeah, Shannon kicks butt.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Guys, we have to end the show already. Yes, so I'm going to give you guys just, a good 30 seconds to promote yourself, promote what you're doing. Go for it.
Brandy Mars Sky, you can catch me at thedallasvoice.com. And also, I will be performing September 15th at Sue Ellen's for the Pride Festival, the big Pride thing. So you can see me in drag. Come catch me in drag.
Nice.
Oh, I'm gonna have to come do
nice.
that.
Yeah.
So Brian with Pride Basics, and right now I'm working on Israel's T-shirts.
Yeah.
These. So you can go to Pride Basics and check it out. I'll post a link in the comments, and if you go online, there's actually a secret shirt.
What?
I like
Yes,
secrets.
There's another design, so you might have to go online and check it out.
Nice.
I'll put the link in the comments.
Excellent. Shannon?
Shannon Houck, Twisted Chain Entertainment. I'll be acting for about the next 3 weeks, producing one film this weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend, so I won't be on the show.
Aww.
I'm real pissed off about that.
And you can find me at Shannon Houck, Shannon71X on all the social media.
Nice. And guys, I am Israel Luna. We are here every Friday at 3 o'clock here at Spayse Studios. This studio right here where we do this show live is called Spayse Station. You can find us at YouTube. Just do a search for Spayse Station, spelled SPAYSE. If you would like your own show, you can email us at spacestudios@gmail.com. And I want to thank my guests for coming, and thank you so much for doing these T-shirts.
No problem.
Thank you. Awesome. Yes.
We're also looking for advertisers.
Yes, we are looking for advertising. Good job, Shannon.
good job.
If you would like to advertise, we get an average of about 500 people per show. So if you would like to advertise your goods or your products, let me know. Have a great weekend. Thank you to my
great weekend.
guests for coming.
Be nice to everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
weekend. I don't know if you want me to say anything about the secret shirt or not. I was
I like
No,
that
that's
though because
good.
that'll
It's a
drive
nice
them
tease.
to the
Nice.
yeah.